still, right? So
Oh yeah, so we do.
are you recording
I forgot about
the
that.
stick? Recording? Right. What? Hey everybody! This is a song from Mumford and Sons. I can't promise you that I won't let you down. And I can't promise you that I will be the only one around when your hope falls down. But we're young, open flowers in the windy fields of this war-torn world. And love, the city breathes a plague of loving things more than their creator. I ran away, I could not take the burden of both me and you. It was too fast, casting love on me as if it were a spell I could not break, when it was a promise I could not make. So what if I was wrong? What if I was wrong? Hold on to what you believe in the light when the darkness has robbed you of all your sight. Hold on to what you believe in the light when the darkness has robbed you of all your sight. This land is less and less to me without you breathing through its trees. And every turn, water runs away from me and the halo disappears, and the hole when you're not near. What if I was wrong? What if I was wrong? What if I was wrong? When the darkness has robbed you of all your sight. Oh, hold on to what you believe in the light when the darkness has robbed you of all your sight. Hold on to what you believed in the light. Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's nice to see you all this morning. It's good to be here together. We're talking about orienting ourselves, finding our way in the madness of all the life that we're living. And so whether it's finding ways to hold on to what you deeply think and what you believe, what you want for yourself and others in this world, or or just sort of searching, it's all welcome. Know that you're, whatever state you arrive in on a given Sunday like today, you're always welcome as you are. And yeah, I'd encourage you to just let yourself kind of ease in, feel at home, and this next song hopefully kind of starts sparking the little wonder synapses in you. This is a Dave Matthews song from some years ago called "Where Are You Going?" Where are you going? Long face, pulling down, don't hide away. Like an ocean you can't see, but you can smell, and the sound of the waves crash down. I am no Superman. I have no reasons for you. I am no hero, that's for sure. But I do know one thing, is where I belong. Yeah, I do know where you go, is where I wanna be. Where are you going? Where do you go? You're looking for answers to questions under the stars. Well, if along the way you are growing weary, you can rest with me until a brighter day, and you're okay. I am no Superman. I have no reasons for you. I am no hero, that's for sure. But I do know one thing, is where you are, is where I belong. Yeah, I do know where you go, is where I wanna be. Where are you going? Oh, where did you go? Where did you go? Where are you going? Oh, where do you go? I am no Superman. I have no answers for you. I'm no hero, oh, that's for sure. But I do know one thing, where you are, is where I belong. Yeah, I do know where you go, is where I wanna be. Oh, let's go. Yeah, thanks. Well, I'm going to ask you actually at sort of maybe an unexpected moment, because it's not about getting your bodies excited and into it as much as just like being one, being together. I'm going to ask you to stand up and let your feet be fully planted on this ground. And I want you to just take this moment and take a couple nice deep breaths in. And this song is from Joseph, the band Joseph. And it kind of draws on some of the language in the Psalms in the Old Testament of the Bible. And yeah, this kind of idea of getting outside of yourself and trusting, looking, hoping. So yeah, this is eyes to the sky. Just let yourself sway, let yourself move, or just feel held by the ground beneath you. Sun, come on me now, warm this cold, cold heart of mine. Troubles come and troubles go. May I see light through tired eyes. I will lift up my eyes to the skies, to the sky. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. Can you sing that? I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. Give me grace, give me peace through my pain and suffering. Be a constant fire that draws me higher. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. I will lift up my eyes to the sky, to the sky. Be a constant fire that draws me higher. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. Burn up the despair that's been sinking me. Yeah, thanks. Go ahead and have a seat, please.
Thank you. Oh, I'm on. Thank you, band. That was wonderful, beautiful. Whoa, tripping hazard right here. Good morning, Fabric. Good morning. Welcome. It's a lovely morning and lovely to see your faces here this morning. Thanks for choosing to be here and whatever it was you needed to do to get yourself here this morning. Good job. Thanks for being here. Welcome to you on the live stream as well. We are stoked that you're here too. So I am Erin McGee, and a couple of things that I'm looking forward to with this season of Fabric actually relate to this series we've been talking about, North Star, and aligning ourselves with who we want to be and how we want to show up in the world. And I'm thinking more on an organizational fabric level. A couple of things I'm excited about are the potential energy or the continuing energy we have with continuing our second half of the year with Ian as our pastor. So I think I counted, we're at like 7 months, seven months. So we're still just in our first year with Ian, and sometimes it feels like it's been years, and sometimes it feels like just the other day. So super excited about that, as well as continuing to share who we are and what we're about with people that aren't here yet, with our friends, families, coworkers, neighbors. The best way that people will be able to know that they're invited here too is if we invite them. So I'm excited about that too. Some other potential energy, if you've been here during this series, Ian's been talking about this stretched rubber band feeling that we've all had many times in our lives, probably thousands of times a day, maybe. Okay, thousands is maybe a lot, but lots of times a day. And there's potential energy right now on an organizational level as well that I'm feeling, and a bunch of us are feeling. It's a little businessy, but it's our new fiscal year, started on September 1st. And so a couple of our board members rolled off the board after a 2-year commitment, and we had a couple new ones roll on just this month. So that's exciting. And it is also, like I said, a new fiscal year. So we just want to draw your attention to this very beautiful pie chart and financial update that also went out by email this week, if you want to check it out there, or you can I encourage you, I personally feel like it's really important to understand the financial health of this community because this does not happen for free. And it's mostly all of our contributions that keep us running. So take a look at that. And at some point, you will hear more from Laureen, who has been our treasurer for many years. Thank you to Laureen. Yes, thank you. We hope she never quits. And just kidding. There are other people who'd be fantastic as well, but Lorraine's been awesome. Jill did it for a long time too and was also amazing. So anyway, there's going to be a What's Up with Fabric coming up in early-ish November, I think November 10th, somewhere around there. We'll get that date out, and we will hear more about this there. And I would just like to take a quick moment, if you are currently on the board, if you could just raise your hand really quick, I'd like to just point you out. So we've got Katie, George, Ian, Garrett, Laureen, Wren, Christina, and then I think we're just missing Brittany this morning, right? I think so, and myself. So all of us are happy to hear from you at any time about anything. It's a great way to have two-way communication with us as a community. Or if you have questions about this financial update specifically, Lorraine's obviously a great person for that, but feel free to talk to any of us if you have questions, whether today or any time. So there's that. Let's see. Kids. I do see a bunch of kids in here. You guys ever notice when the kids get up to go, that suddenly we realize how many kids are in the room? So the one thing I really love and appreciate about Fabric is that we invest in our people for their whole lives, starting from when they're really little. And the kids programming that you find here, you will not find anywhere else, literally, because it is designed for this community. So they are North Starring too, and I see they're getting up to go. So if you are a kid or someone helping the kids this morning, it is your time to follow your folks and, yeah, find where you need to be. And while they are finding their way, just a reminder that we have coffee and water over here. And this is a casual environment, so feel free to get up and move around whenever you need during the gathering this morning. And then the restrooms are down this hall on your left. And there's also a gender-neutral, accessible restroom with a changing table if you follow the signs, and it's a little bit of a maze to get there, but you've got a couple options there. It looks like most of you got your Sunday paper, and thanks to our high schooler group and others for helping hand those out this morning. If you did not, I'm not sure where they are, but they are somewhere. Do you know where the Sunday papers went, Ev? or point in a general direction? Over there. All right. If anyone needs one, they're over there somewhere. And it's a great place to follow along and be aware of what's coming up. What I would really like to point out this morning, tell your friends that aren't here today, we will not be gathering here physically next week. So, I mean, you can come here if you want, but we won't be here. So, it is the Twin Cities Marathon. Is anybody running? Or anyone know somebody running the marathon or the 10-miler? You know people running? Not running. Yes, okay. Okay, awesome. So we've been doing this as a community for many years. This building is in the middle of the kind of chaos that happens on that morning. We tend to know people running or be runners. And so because we're a community that is churched out in the community, we go cheer for the marathon. So we'll be doing that, it looks like, at 34th Avenue in Minnehaha. It is super fun. Wear your fabric gear, and we hope to see you there. And bring friends. We'll have coffee, and there's usually something to eat as well. So anyone you know that wants to cheer or just get out of the house in the morning, bring them too. Also, in your Sunday paper is your communication card. I encourage you to pull that out. I know I say this every time, but does it sound any different this time? I invite you to pull it out. Even if you have been here forever, we'd love to hear from you. This is maybe a little old school, but it is one of the best ways to open a two-way communication between the staff and the prayer team. It's not just for prayers. It's a place for feedback and questions or constructive criticism, whatever you'd like, ideas. Please use it as that tool because it is looked at. They are looked at every week. And help just weave things a little deeper and maybe a little more personally with what you share on there. Let's see, what do I have left? Hey, another thing on the communication card is, where is it? Yes, if you're interested about a group, that's another way to help reorient ourselves and help us stay on course is being in a group. You can check that little box on the back that you're interested in groups, and someone will be in touch with you about that. So with that is all I've got. I invite you, if you're able to, get up and either go find someone you haven't seen in a while or don't know yet, introduce yourself, and if you need something to talk about, maybe share how you know that you are home or what reminds you of home, however you want to define home. Thanks.
Testing. Calling all live streamers. We're getting our stuff figured out over here. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. It is good to be with you this morning. So glad that you are finding a way to be Fabric in spite of not being physically here or maybe not being able to. But just wanted to give you a quick word of welcome and thanks for being here. And as always, feel free to type something into the chat. It's always good to see and hear from you. If you probably saw that contact card link on our website too, so you can see that. You can submit stuff that way. That's probably a more reliable way of getting comments to us from the live stream rather than searching back through comments for us. We are not real great at doing that. But anyway, we're talking about Red in the Shed today. So Ian's about to step up with telling us what that's all about. If you are into orienteering, unlike myself, you may have a little head start on what that means. But anyway, Thanks. Have a great morning.
Good morning, everybody. As always, good to hear the buzz of conversation in the room. And I would invite you to keep that going in a little while. Thanks again to Aaron McGee for welcoming us and getting us going on that. For those of you who don't know, Aaron, as of September 1st, McGee is our new president of the board, the Fabric Board. Thank you for your leadership. That was Aaron McGee. I'm Ian McSee. It's good to be together. So we are just kind of plowing through this North Star series. And we started a few weeks back with a conversation about potential energy. It's that idea in physics, like the stretched rubber band that is not yet flung and moving. It's the pent-up energy. It's the what could be, right? And because I'm not a physics teacher or really know anything beyond that, we kind of applied it more to sort of our emotional, spiritual, family, social selves, right? That like, in this time of transition of the season and the beginning of a school year and lots of like job changes and there's all sorts of stuff that seems to be happening at this time of year. And then you add on that like an election and we don't know what's going to happen with that. And there's a lot of feelings around that too. Like there's this stored up potential energy in each one of us. And so we spent a couple weeks talking about some of the kind of antidotes to that. Like, what do we do with that potential energy, right? How do we focus it in and put it in a direction in a way that feels good? And so we talked a little bit about getting local, like planting your feet where you are, reaching out, reaching in, be aware of who you are, be connected to other people, right? And then last week we talked about just the importance and power of like being a part of a group, right? Whether it's a Fabric group or your families or your close friends. Sometimes even we're lucky enough to be in workplaces where people know us really well, and those people can be the people who remind us who we are. Maybe when we're getting a little bit off track of where we want to be going. And so then just to reiterate again, that the reality right now that I'm feeling certainly, and maybe you feel it too, is that things are feel sometimes like a little off course, right? Like, I know where I am, I know where I want to be, and I don't always know how to get from point A to point B, right? How do I get to where I want to go? For me, I know right now in this time of year, like the calendar is super full. With kids at the ages, I mean, we've got almost 6 and a 4-year-old, and we're just beginning. I'm looking at some of you experienced parents of like teenagers and stuff who your calendars, I don't know how you survive. And there's so many places, so many organizations, campaigns, there's all this stuff, all these people that are asking of me, my attention, my commitment, my finances, my time, you name it, right? And so I feel like it's a little scattered a lot of times. So today, the message title is Red in the Shed. And in order to really kind of get at what we're going to talk about with the orienteering metaphor, right, of compasses and maps and magnetic north and yada yada. As I've been talking to people, I realize like only a few of us in the room have done orienteering, And in order for me to like actually, a metaphor is really only as useful as it's understood, right? So with your permission, I'm just going to kind of skip over that part and just talk about what we're talking about. Is that okay with everybody? Yes? Okay, great. Yeah, I'm hearing some like relief. Okay, good. So just to make note that like when I say like keeping red in the shed, it's in orienteering. It's this idea that that we navigate with a keen awareness of where north is. Okay, so otherwise you kind of end up just sort of wandering, aimless, right? And then for our purposes today, what putting red in the shed means is journeying through our lives with an awareness of our core values. What are the things that really deeply motivate us, pull us, push us in the direction that we want to be going? So I was talking this week, or last week, in therapy with my therapist, Ryan, so I was talking about this idea of core values, right? And he taught me about values clarification. So many thanks to Ryan for a lot of this message today. So your values, right, are the beliefs that you have that define what's most important to you, and they can guide your choices in your life. So some of the values that I know I hold are values that I inherited, right? By virtue of being born into the family I was in, the way my parents raised me, the way me and my sister interacted, right? There's certain values that just sort of are so normal to me, I might not even be able to remove myself from those things, right? Or as I've grown and inherited or developed new values, some of those things have been challenged, and sometimes values can kind of butt up against each other. Other values that we have, we've developed because we are, maybe we've lived in a particular way that feels really good. I was just talking to, Susan was saying, that feeling of, like, in a conversation about home, what does it feel like? How do you know you're home? Like, it just feels good, right? You can kind of let loose and breathe easy. So some values we develop because we just trust our guts enough to recognize that feeling and name it and name the value that's attached to it. Other values, I know for me personally, even in the last few years, certain values have kind of risen to the top of importance for me because of things that I've experienced that felt awful, right? Sometimes things happen and it just, that was awful, and I don't want to experience that again. I don't want other people to experience what I experienced. And so now a value has emerged for me as kind of being core to who I am, right? These are all valid, and they're all important, and I just want to name that, right? I remember as a kid, I was probably in like fourth grade. And did any of you grow up in at schools where there was a blacktop, right, like the asphalt, and then there was like a big bucket sort of thing on a pole, and it had holes that you'd shoot a basket, and then it would like come out? You know what I'm talking about? Like the ball would kind of fall out of a hole. I have no idea what that game is. No idea. But as like a fourth grader, it was a lot easier to get a ball in that huge thing than it was in a real basketball hoop. So I remember on the playground, we used to play at this thing, and we made up a new version of basketball somehow. I don't know that any of us ever actually knew the rules. We just sort of like threw balls in there. But there was this new kid in fourth grade, and I'm going to call him Tony because I lost track of him. I didn't ask permission to tell the story, so to protect him. So Tony was a new kid in school, and he and I got along. I feel like one of the things I'm like kind of proud actually about as a little kid is that when there was a new kid, teachers would like partner me up with them, because that was, I don't know, that's just who I was, right? Like welcoming people. Didn't know about my core values, but I think that is one of them. And so Tony was sort of he was kind of an eclectic kid. He really wanted to belong, right? And it's hard to change schools. It's hard to move to a new place. It's hard to come back to a place. It's hard human stuff, right? And so, but he was kind of a goofy dude. Like out on the playground, we'd be shooting baskets in this nameless game. And I remember there was a day where kind of my whole friend group was doing this, and he was with us, and everyone was kind of picking at him, kind of poking fun. And it wasn't in a fair way. He wasn't laughing. Everyone else was laughing, he wasn't laughing. And usually in those moments, I think I would have either not participated or even better, said something, right? Stood up with him. And this day, for whatever reason, I decided to not do that and to participate in poking fun. And immediately, when I saw his face, I knew. I had this like zing feeling, right? It was that experience of getting zapped by my own core values. It was a moment where I realized I am not acting in line with what I value the most, right? I had made a choice, and it was not a good one for me or for him. What I know about my core values, I figured it out in that moment, right? That where my core values tend to be like justice and belonging and humor, like laughing, I was acting out of line. I had prioritized laughter without belonging and without justice. So I'm going to get back to that story in a little bit, but I just wanted to lay that out there as an example of like a time when I made a decision or acted in a way that wasn't in line with my core values, and immediately I knew I'm off base here, right? What's interesting about core values, as I was talking to Ryan this week, is that, I know the core values of a lot of businesses and nonprofits that I admire because they're really good at communicating what their core values are, right? I know the core values that Fabric staff developed in 2021. You know how I know them? They're on banners, right? They're told that we speak them out loud, right? What I realized over the last few weeks as I've been thinking about core values and the experience of them is that I value a lot of things, but I'm not always sure what my core values are, right? Sometimes I feel like my values conflict with each other. I sometimes fall into habits, but habits aren't necessarily my core values, right? Like, I know that I value family time. I know that I value connectivity. I know that I value creativity and like making things with my hands. And then every Sunday morning, I don't know about you, what your phone does for you, but every Sunday morning I get this like little pop-up that's like screen time report from the last week. And I'm telling you, I'm not living in alignment with my core values. I drove up to school here today with a great sense of shame and anger at myself. So, because of that reality, if you're anything like me and feel that sometimes, or often, you're not living in alignment with your core values, we're going to actually go through this exercise today of values clarification, okay? So on the back of your Sunday paper, if you're in the room and have a Sunday paper, there's a list of, do you want one? Thank you, yeah. Does anyone else need a Sunday paper? Good, okay. If you're online or listening to the podcast later, I know a lot of you have reached out this week with busy schedules. You can just Google values list or core values list. This is one that I pulled, just literally copied and pasted from Brene Brown's Dare to Lead website and put in on our Sunday paper. But it's not a complete list. It's just kind of probably 50-ish of like the most common sort of popular core values. So I'm going to invite you to just scan through it. Don't do anything with it yet. Just scan through it. Look at those things. Are there any that make you recoil? Are there any that feel true for you? As you read through them, keep in mind your own life experiences, your relationships with other people. Keep in mind moments of personal growth or of growing awareness in yourself or with others. And then I'm going to invite you to take a pen out or a crayon or marker or whatever you have nearby and circle up to 10. This might be hard. That's okay. So circle up to 10 and treat it like a snapshot. Values can shift and change over time. But in this moment, where you're at today, what are the 10 that maybe feel the most true or the most honest about yourself? We're not going to share these with anybody. This is just for you. Yeah. You have a question?
So are these ones that you feel you're authentically living or ones that you are aspiring?
That's a great question. The question is, is it things are you circling things that you feel like you're authentically living into or aspirational? And I would say go towards aspirational. Yeah. You don't need to be living in alignment with these, but if there's one that pops out and you're like, ooh, I really think that's one of my core values and I'm not living into it, that's okay. That's okay. Are we getting close? No pressure. No pressure, but total pressure because it's about to get harder. Once you've circled about 10, then ignore the rest for the moment and put a star next to 3. Of the most important out of that about 10, what are the 3 that kind of come to the top for you? Am I rushing you if I move to the next step? Yeah? Okay, I'll give you another minute. Yeah. Once you have about 3 that are starred, try to order them, 1 being the most important, 2, and then 3. See if you can do that. What's true in the moment just today? Don't carve these in stone. Good. Let's do like another 30 seconds. If you're done, I invite you to just kind of look up this direction. I'm going to kind of gauge where we're at. Good. Awesome. Okay. Are we feeling okay? We just shake our shoulders a little bit, wiggle your body. All right. This is not an exercise in perfection. It's an exercise in awareness, that's all, of the moment. No need to make this perfect. Now we're going to go just a little bit deeper into one of these. So if you are able to rank one, number one, the most important, or if you weren't, just take one that feels really important to you at this moment in your life. And there's a section underneath that values list that's got a little block in it. We're going to go a little deeper with this. So write down what is the core value that you would name as one of your top values, one of your core values. And in your own words, how would you describe what that means? Just a short phrase. And then just a step further, what are some of the behaviors or attitudes or choices that you've taken on and felt like you were really living into that value? I'm going to move forward here. This doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be finished right now. This might be something you take home and chew on a little bit. Let it be the gristle you chew on for the week. Getting clarity on this stuff, on what our core values are, and maybe even why, right? What are the stories, experiences, attitudes, whatever that you have that have led you to this place? Getting clarity on it's important because sometimes our values can be in conflict. I know a lot of what we've been talking about is this idea of kind of being off track, right? Or maybe feeling a little scattered, not sure how do I get to where I want to go, right? I can imagine what life would feel like if I got to this other point, right? But getting there sometimes is hard, right? I feel like I'm off course 80% of the time, right? We did this past week. The Fabric staff did this exercise, and the three for me that emerged as the top were justice, belonging, and humor. Right? I kind of experience life and interpret life with as much humor as I can, and so in kind of reflecting on this Tony story, right, the playground story. I learned about myself. Like there was the tension, the conflict I felt in myself because of the choice that I had made to participate in making fun of him helped me. I felt anger, and I felt shame, and I felt all those kind of yuck feelings in that moment. It was a strong enough feeling in that moment in 4th grade that even telling you today, I'm feeling that stuff about myself right now, right? That was a significant moment for me of learning. And that conflict, that tension, is always an opportunity to get clarity, right? To get clarity on what our values are and how they look, right? So I learned in that moment that participating in humor at the expense of somebody else isn't really all that funny to me, right? And doing something, so belonging is another of my top core values still to this day. And I wanted to be a part of my friend group, right? I wanted to do what they were doing, be accepted by my friends, even if what they were doing wasn't exactly what I would choose, right? But I learned in that moment, too, that belonging at the expense of the belonging of somebody else isn't the kind of belonging I want to be a part of, right? And when I prioritize those things, even humor and belonging, above and beyond justice, I learned in that moment that zing feeling, that yuck, that this is a moment where I needed to get some clarity on that. And so I want to just talk a little bit about conflict, about internal conflict and interpersonal conflict, right? And to say that we cannot have relationships without conflict. There's a difference between fighting and conflict. I think we can have relationships without fighting. I think that's possible. But I know for a fact that we can't have relationships without conflict. And that's within ourselves. We can't have a real connection or relationship with ourselves without conflict. We can't have a relationship with others, nor in this kind of 3-stranded way that we talk about life, about living life woven deeply as a part of sort of our lingo around Fabric, right? We can't even have a real understanding or relationship, I don't think, of God without being in conflict with the divine. I think that's true. For me, at least, it has been. I think we can work toward living without fighting and violence, but we can't have relationships without conflict, right? Like that feeling of like, wow, like within myself, wow, I really like myself a lot when I choose to be, for me, it's like when I'm feeling sort of tension in life or like there's a big moment, I like myself when I make the choice to kind of choose to take a minute, be quiet, breathe deep, become aware of who I am, right, when I'm feeling stressed. Or in an interpersonal way, right, with conflict, like, hey, Tony, right? I didn't step in at recess today. And I realized immediately that I didn't like that choice. I should have done differently. I will do differently. I hope you can forgive me. A couple of weeks ago, I shared a story, the story of kind of this moment in history where John the Baptist was killed by Herod, by the Roman Empire. And it was a moment of great unrest and anxiety. And it was the reaction or the response, I should say, that Jesus had in that moment as a good model for how we could potentially kind of get local within ourselves and get to know who we are and take action in an appropriate way. So I'm going to go back to that story. Do we have the picture of the people on the hill? It's up there somewhere. There it is. So in this moment, right, John the Baptist had been beheaded, and all these people went into the hills away from the cities, and they were you can kind of imagine the rumblings, like this really influential, important person in our life and in our culture has been killed. Do we rise up and fight? Do we get small and get quiet and shrink into ourselves? And I think the important part that, for me at least, is that what Jesus did is he got internal for a moment and checked in with who he is and to whom does he belong and what is the need and what's his work. And so rather than participating in rising up against the Roman Empire in a violent way, or instead of participating in getting quiet and small, what he did was create a community. He created space for people to be heard, to connect with each other, and then to be fed, right? So it all started with sharing what he had at his disposal, right? Bread and fish, and then it spread, and everybody had enough to eat. He modeled what can happen when we start with deep knowledge of ourselves. And I think this language about core values is an entry point into that, right? Who am I? To whom do I belong? What are the needs and what can I do? And then sometimes, we've seen throughout the last 2,000 years, people take Jesus seriously enough to change the way that they're doing things and approaching this conversation about their core values and how do I interact in the world in a healthy way, and inspire transformation all around them. And they develop new ways to speak the same kind of values into their context. So you get people like Mother Teresa. And I wanted to share, kind of as we conclude our time here, this quote that Mother Teresa said. I'm sure you've heard it before. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. If we have no peace, it's because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And I suspect she's talking about Martin Luther King Jr.'s definition of peace, of true peace, which is the presence of justice as opposed to merely the absence of tension, right? I think that's what she's talking about. And I wanted to leave you with this quote, because even in this exercise of identifying core values and wondering at, how are we living? Are we living in alignment with those core values in a way that feels really good? Or are we feeling kind of the crunch inside of misalignment? I think I would just say we always have the choice to get back on track, to choose differently. Using tools like values clarification and being in relationship with trusted people who help remind us of who we are and to whom we belong and what the work is and where our gifts intersect with the work that needs to be done to create a healthier world. Trusting our feelings as we journey in life can help us to get back on track and live in closer alignment with who we are and what we value. And so, even when you're feeling particularly off track, I'm saying to myself and also you, even when you are feeling off track, when you're feeling the tension, the conflict, even within yourself, know that you belong. You belong to yourself. You belong to others in community. You belong in community, and you belong to the divine. May it be so.
Well, this is a great moment to pass those little white bags in the aisle. And kind of that, I guess what I would like to just say is thank you for all the ways that you invest yourself. those comments, the needs, the deep longings and prayers, the financial gifts, all of that. And just by being here, by being in this space is just such a good way of investing in this community and in yourself. So thanks for all of that. Yeah. This is a song we haven't sung for a little while now, but for me, sometimes the conversations around core values and things like that tend to feel sort of heady. Like I want to choose something good and be smart and align my life with my philosophies, and sometimes it just feels like that kind of finding our North Star, finding our way, what we're aiming at, getting oriented, all that just feels out of reach and feels hard. And I think this is one of those songs that encourages that kind of just gentleness with yourself, calling out, trusting on that great power of love beyond us, within us, among us, beneath us, over us, and through us. So, as it feels natural to you, I'd encourage you to call out in that way today, and just know that, once again, all of you is welcome. Oh my God, shine your light on us, that we might live. Oh my God, shine your light on us, that we might live. I've been holding on, I've been holding on. All that is inside me screams to come back home. And if you feel lost, if you feel lost, sing along. If you feel tired, if you feel tired, sing along. If you feel lost and tired, this is your song. Yeah. I've been broken down, I've been broken down. I ain't giving up, love will come back around. If you feel lost, if you feel lost, sing along. If you feel tired, if you feel tired, sing along. If you feel lost and tired, this is your song. You sing that to the person next to you. If you feel lost and tired, if you feel lost and tired, this is your song. Ooh.
my God, shine your light on us, that we might live. You sing that? Oh my God, shine your light on us, that we might live. If you feel lost, if you feel lost, sing along. If you feel tired, if you feel tired, sing along. And if you feel lost and tired, this is your song. If you feel lost, if you feel lost, sing along. If you feel tired, if you feel tired, sing along. Thanks. Well, if you would, go ahead and stand up for this last one, please. Stand up. That's like a mic stand joke.
Oh boy. You ready?
Travel on, there's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. The world outside, every darkened door, the blues don't bother you anymore. Right, the free and the lovers soar, come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate, break down the garden gate. There's not much time left today. You sing this? Life is a highway. Towns, it's in my blood and it's all around. I love you now and I love you then. This is the road and these are the hands for those that make to these Memphis nights. Cowboy past the Vancouver's nights. You knock me down and back up again. In my blood I'm not a lonely man. There's no road I can hold. Roads so rough, yes I know. I'll be there when the night comes in. Just tell them we're survivors. All night long. If you're going my way, I wanna ride it all night long. Life is a highway, I wanna ride it all night long. You're going my way, I wanna drive it all night long. There was a distance between
Thank you to the band. That was fun. Woo, love it. So if you have a kid in your life or see a kid walking by, just wanted to kind of share this. Sigrid gave me permission to show you that the book that they made today, they're talking about this stuff too. This is called A Little Book About Decision Making, about what are our options, what are the potential consequences of our choices, and so if you have a kid in your life, this might be a fun conversation in the car on the way home. Maybe they could even read it to you. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being Fabric. Let's go out in the world and keep weaving. Yeah? Great. Have a lovely day.
Like the road you travel on, there's one day here and the next you're gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn you back to the road. There's a world outside every darkened door.